Hi, welcome to Verbling class on primary and secondary education. I apologize profusely for the delay. I've been having a massive amount of technical issues lately, but I think this should be working fine now, and for future classes it should be better. So today, like I said, today's class is on primary and secondary education. So I wanted to share with you all something about the education system in the U.S. And I also want to hear, as usual, about all of your respective countries and what your education systems are like. I think that there will probably be a lot of similarities between my country and yours on a lot of the primary and secondary school stuff. But I think it's a lot of good education-related vocabulary anyways. So very important for your English learning to be able to discuss education, since after all, education is what we're doing here on Verbling, and clearly that means you have some interest in school and in education. So we'll be talking about, like I said, the U.S. school system. We'll be talking a little bit about public versus private schools. So public schools are schools that are funded by the government, and private schools are schools that are privately funded. So that means people donate money for those schools to operate, and also students pay tuition. Students pay to be a part of those schools. And for primary and secondary education in a lot of countries, public and private education both exist. So we'll be talking about the advantages and disadvantages of public and private schools and comparing these systems. And hopefully we will all pick up some speaking practice and also some vocabulary practice along the way. I'm expecting this class to open up to join in about the next minute. So please now click the green Join Class button to join the class. And if you want to be able to join classes earlier than everyone else, definitely check out Verbling Premium. It's a really good option for you to make sure you're getting spots in classes, because I know a lot of Verbling classes fill up. So check that out. And but now everyone is able to join the class for this class. So please click the green Join Class button before it fills up. And if it does fill up, you can still watch the live video feed. And once the class fills up a little more, we'll get started. For now, I'll introduce myself. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Libby. I live in France now, but in a couple of months, I'm heading back to my home country, America, and I'm going to start working. Here in France, I teach English to French high school students as a second language, and I also obviously am a teacher for Verbling. So I've been working in education for a while, and I'm really interested in education. So hopefully this class will be able to talk about education systems, and then also maybe even get into a discussion about education in general. So it looks like we're probably not going to have a full class today because we've got multiple classes running at once. So I expect students to come into the class as the hour continues. So for now, we'll just start with our smaller class. That's good because you guys will get even more speaking practice, and people will join later in the hour. So let's see. We will do some quick introductions before we start the discussion. I'd like to know your names, what country you're in, and your favorite subject in school. And so for me, I'm Libby, I'm in France, and my favorite subject is science. I really like science. I really like physics, actually. So I would say physics is my favorite subject. Let's see. Can we start with Abdullah? Could you introduce yourself?
Hello, good morning. My name is Abdullah. I live in Germany, and my favorite subject was history at school.
Okay,
Yeah.
great. Any specific kind of history or just history in general?
Actually, ancient history, so the Roman Empire, Egyptian, and Greek.
Okay,
Yeah.
great. Very cool. My mother studied modern European history. That was her college major. But I'm not as much of a history person as she was.
I see. Well,
Okay, cool. Thank you. Next is Arthur.
Yeah. Hello.
Hi, could you tell us your country and your favorite subject in school?
Hello. Yeah. I'm from Armenia, but now I live in States. Uh, my favorite subject in the school it was English classes. I like it. I love it. And
Good.
I was a very good student in that class. Only I just have only high scores only in that class.
Very nice. Well, I'm glad you're continuing your English education then. That makes me happy.
Yeah. Yeah. I have to know.
Yeah, yes, true. Okay, great. And Servet is next.
Oh, hello, good morning, Libby, and I'm Sarat. I'm from Turkey. My favorite class at school was my favorite lesson or class. Probably it was mathematics. I was good at mathematics and geometry. And I would like to say English, but we didn't have too much classes on English. We didn't have teachers too much.
I see. Okay, got it. Nice. Yeah, I like math too. I really liked math until I got really high up in math, and then I
Mm.
realized that it
Uh, it's,
becomes more abstract once you get to like linear algebra, and then I don't even know what's after that. But I really liked it. I really liked geometry and I liked calculus. But besides that, I was yeah.
after it becomes too easy for you, you jumped into physics.
Well, maybe I think it's just that I like stuff that's more applied. I need to
Mm,
I need to do
yes,
something with it. So that's why I like physics. All
good
right,
point.
cool. Thank you guys. It's kind of cool that we have a smaller class today because we can really just mold the class around what you guys want to discuss and what you guys want to do. It'll be really good practice for you. And so I thought we could talk a little bit about American education, and then we can discuss whatever you guys want to discuss. If you want to share your education systems in your countries, if you want to talk more about education in general and why we do education in society, whatever you want after that. But we'll start by talking about the American system, and then we'll see where the discussion goes. But hopefully it will just be some good vocabulary and speaking practice. I have this article that I wanted to base our discussion on. So if you open that link in the Verbling classes, there's an article which I think provides a really nice, simple overview of the American education system. So we can read through the first couple sections of this together, and then there's a little comprehension exercise at the end, and then we can discuss more afterwards, whatever you guys want. So the article is called An Overview of American Education, and I'll read the first paragraph, we'll go over if you have questions, and then we'll take turns reading the rest of it through, and then we'll talk about it. So in the U.S., this is starting with paragraph 1. Actually, I'll put it on the screen too. So it says American children are guaranteed 12 years of schooling, in addition to 1 year of kindergarten. Before officially beginning school, many children attend daycare or preschool. These programs, which focus mostly on play and the development of social skills, also introduce the children to the world of education. They begin with learning the alphabet and counting numbers as early as age 3. Their first day of school is a big day, not only for the child, but also for the parents and grandparents. With each passing year, more knowledge and skills are acquired, and by the end of grade 12, the child's future is back in his or her own hands. So I think this is a pretty good summary. Kindergarten is, so we go to preschool when we're really young, and then around age 5, we go to kindergarten, which is 1 year of school to prepare us for, real school. And so kindergarten is a lot of games and just learning to interact with other children. And the first day of kindergarten, at least for me, was really exciting because it was the first day you got to take a school bus. And that was like a big deal, and I still have the photograph that my mom took of me getting on the bus, and I'm going up the stairs in the front door of the bus, and I'm turning around behind me and looking at the camera with my little backpack on, and so I don't remember that day, but my family certainly will always remember. And all the school buses in the U.S. look like the stereotypical picture that's in this article of a yellow, big yellow bus, and we just loved it when we were little. It was the best part of school day was taking the bus to school. So it starts out with kindergarten, and then we go on with 12 years of public or general education. So next we'll talk about how our system is organized. It's kind of boring, but we'll go through it quickly. So just so you know how we do it. So the next paragraph is called Kindergarten, Elementary, Junior, and Senior High School. And would one of you guys like to read this paragraph for us?
Yes, I can start.
Wonderful. Go ahead, Servet.
Okay. At the age of 5, most children go to kindergarten, where they spend a year before they start the first of 12 grades. Kindergarten is obligatory in most states. Students attend elementary school for 5 or 6 years, grades 1 to 5, 6. After this, they move on to a secondary level of school with grades 6, 7 to 12. Okay?
Yeah, you can read the next one too.
Okay. The secondary level usually divided into junior high, grades 6, 7 to 8, 9, and senior high school, grades 9, 10 to 12. A 9th grader is called a freshman. A 10th grader is a sophomore. An 11th grader is a junior. And in the final year, they are seniors. The same term are used in the first 4 years of university or college. See diagram.
Okay, great. Thank you. So that's how our school works. We have a year of kindergarten, then we have elementary school, and then we have junior. Yeah, it depends. There's elementary school and then secondary school. Secondary school is a sort of general term. In my school, we had elementary school, middle school, and high school. So those were the 3 schools. Sometimes you have elementary school, junior high, and high school. But in any case, it starts with elementary school and it ends with high school, your early education. And when you see these terms, freshman, sophomore, junior, and senior, so your first, second, third, and fourth years of high school and of university, we use those terms all the time in the U.S. Again, this is just the American system, and so I have friends who are Canadian or British, and if I say to them, "Oh yeah, my freshman year of college" or "my junior year of college," they always say, "You need to remind me. I don't know what that is. I don't know what year that is." So if you know those years, and you're talking to an American, they'll be very impressed by your knowledge of the system, because we always refer to the years that way. So first year is freshman, second year is sophomore, third year is junior, and fourth year is senior. So I think this diagram is pretty helpful for remembering. If you ever want to check back, you can use this website. This diagram right here does a good job showing what years are which things. So we have kindergarten, and then primary school or elementary school, secondary school or junior high, and then high school. And there's different types of high school, which we're going to go into next. But first of all, do you have any questions about how the system works so far?
No.
No.
It's clear? All right. Awesome. So next we'll read this next paragraph. It's called Academic and Vocational Courses. Abdullah, would you want to read that for us?
Sure. Unlike Norwegian schools, the U.S. public schools have no national curriculum. American schools enjoy great freedom when it comes to school planning, and the students are free to choose between a large selection of subjects. In most high schools, the students can choose between courses offered in 3 levels, depending on ability and interest. These courses are academic, vocational, and general. Academic courses are geared for those students planning on attending higher education, college or university. Vocational courses offer studies in car mechanics, hairstyling, or other trades. A school's general program may combine features of both types of courses for those who want the benefits of a practical education and a high school diploma.
Okay, great. And then we'll just read the last paragraph to Arthur. Could you read the paragraph that says core subjects?
Yeah, sure. Regardless of your level, there are some common core subjects that are compulsory in all schools, but public and private. In secondary schools, some of these subjects are English, mathematics, science, biology, chemistry, and physics, social studies, and physical education. In addition to compulsory subjects, must school offer a wide range of elective courses, such as foreign language learning and studies in arts, music, and drama. Each student, therefore, has his or her own tailored schedule.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. So that's how our high schools work. Is obviously this was designed for Norwegian people. That's why it says unlike the Norwegian schools. But the point is, U.S. public schools have no national curriculum. So each school district, each town, basically decides on its own curriculum. And students need to pass national exams, so there are certain standards that students need to meet. But each school can decide what classes they want to teach to meet those standards. And when we're in high school, everyone goes to the same high school. We only have one kind of high school. This is different, for instance, from here in France, where I live now. They have 2 types of high schools. They have general high schools and vocational high schools. We offer general and vocational courses, but we offer them in the same high school so that students can take a combination of them. In the U.S., this is considered important because we want to give all students the opportunity to attend college or university and to pursue higher education. So even for lower achieving students, we want to give them the opportunity to challenge themselves and try harder courses, even if they might not do as well, because we want them to pursue their goals for the future. So we have one kind of high school, and we have academic and vocational courses in the same school. My high school was a public high school, and we also had a certain amount of compulsory subjects. So core subjects that everyone needs to take. And we had, we all had to take English and math and history and chemistry, biology, and physics. And then after that, we could either challenge ourselves with advanced placement courses, or we could do easier elective courses. We could take art courses, music, technology. We had a lot of choices outside of our core curriculum. And the idea is that you want students to have a well-rounded education. Students should have a variety of course experience, and then they can go on to university if they want to. So any questions about what this article that we've read about the American system?
Yeah, if you are a graduate in America, your diploma is going to be allowed in France?
Good question. I think most countries recognize a high school diploma as being similar. So if you finish secondary education in the US or in France, I think both countries will say, okay, you have a high school diploma. The place where it gets different is with university degrees or university diplomas. So again, in France and in the US, if I have a bachelor's degree, that means I have 4 years of university. Both countries will take that to be pretty similar, but if I have a graduate degree, so if I study law or medicine or business, those degrees are not usually accepted internationally. So once you get up to very specialized graduate school, like if I go to medical school, if I go to medical school in France, for instance, the United States will not usually recognize my medical degree. They will say, you need to go to medical school in the United States if you want to practice medicine in the United States. So it depends, but mostly up through high school, it's the same.
Yeah, I know the United States doesn't recognize your diploma, but I know the Europe countries, they are recognizing every diploma. If you graduated some bachelor, you have some bachelor degree.
Yeah, I think up to a bachelor's degree, definitely in Europe. If I come here and say I have a bachelor's degree, then they will accept that as being the same as
But states not accepting at all anything if you have.
I think in the U.S.
You know, I am asking. I had that problem like this. That's why I'm asking. I graduate 4 years bachelor degree, but states doesn't recognize it.
Oh yeah, okay. So I'm glad. Yeah, I'm glad you asked, because that's definitely true. So for a bachelor's degree, if you have a bachelor's in the U.S. and you go to Europe, it's usually fine. But if you have a bachelor's degree from Europe and you come to the U.S., yeah, sometimes certain, like if you want to work for a company or something, they might say, it's not the same because it wasn't done in English or it wasn't done in the US. I don't know. It depends on who you ask, but the United States is generally very picky about other people's degrees.
Yeah, I know some people they have a bachelor degree and they are very, very good doctors and they have maybe more than 10-year experience. But in the United States, they are working delivery person, they can't work a doctor. Doesn't matter. You have experience, you graduate a bachelor degree or not. It doesn't matter here. It's very bad side here.
Yeah, that's really frustrating. I think it's because in the U.S. they want the system to be very standardized, right? They want everyone to have done the same thing. But I think a better solution would be if there was, there are exams. There are like medical boards you can pass as a doctor. The problem is just that it's a really demanding exam and it takes a couple of months to study for it. So if you're already a doctor and you come to the U.S., it's kind of stupid to have to take 2 months of not working to pass your exam, So I think it should be a little bit easier, but the U.S. system is really hard to get into.
Yeah, I know. One time I give up the college here.
Yeah, it's just like that, unfortunately.
And when you are saying you have a bachelor degree or something like that, like associate degree, it's very bad for you. It would be better to say I don't have anything.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, because I asked them, I have an associate degree and bachelor degree. They tell me, oh, you can't go and you can ask for FAFSA, you know what that means, like
Yeah, like
financial aid, yeah,
aid.
yeah. And you're gonna be pay more than you need, you know, than if you don't gonna have that degrees. And you will start for first class, for first level, and why you need to say just I had a mistake and I said I have a bachelor degree, and you know they ask a lot of paper to bring, and it just I need to start from first level. It doesn't matter I had it or not.
Yeah,
It
I
would
think
be gonna be very easy to say I don't have any degrees and start from first level, then say I have a degree, and again start from level 1, but you must do a lot of paperwork.
interesting. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, that's another question is how international students fit into the U.S. system, which we can also start talking about if you guys want to, because you know, sometimes, for instance, at my university there were a lot of international students, but it was a little bit hard for them because first they had to get accepted, which is it's really hard to get accepted to certain universities, most universities. And then afterwards they had to pay for it. And financial aid is not available to international students in general. And so students who are 18 who want to go...
Depends from your income.
Yes, but way more money is given to American students than international students. So American students in the university system are given priority over international students for financial aid. So that's why it can be very frustrating for international students because they need to spend a lot of money to come to school in the United States. So sometimes only students who can afford it come to private universities in the U.S. So, and these are students who are not U.S. residents. They're residents of, you know.
But it's same in all states.
Yes, if you're not a state resident, then it's the same. If you're a resident of certain states, it helps.
No, I'm a resident.
Yeah, so that's a different situation. I'm talking about just international students who come to my university just to study. So they still live in Singapore or Turkey or wherever, but they just come to my university for 4 years to study. It's harder for them to get money to study.
I mean, if you are a resident, they're gonna be look at you like a native.
It depends. I don't know a lot of the legal stuff about that, but if you're a legal resident of certain states, you can get cheaper tuition at public universities. So those are the ones that are funded by taxes or funded by the government. But
yeah,
I'm not. I don't know this super well.
Pass the 1-1 English.
Well, good. That's a good use of time.
Yeah.
All right, so let's all move on and just do these quick comprehension questions for the American system, just so you guys are really solid on that, and then we'll talk a little bit more about public versus private education. So here are the questions at the bottom of the article where it says comprehension. And the first question is, how many years of education is a child guaranteed in the United States? How many guaranteed years of education?
12.
Good. Yeah. That's correct. So it says up here, American children are guaranteed 12 years of schooling in addition to 1 year of kindergarten. So technically 13, but we usually say they're guaranteed 12 years.
But I have a question.
Yeah.
You said the schools are free to prepare their own curriculum, but The questions of the exams are the same? They are prepared in an exact place, or all students have to solve the same problems in exams, or not? If so, because if the curriculum is free, maybe one school won't teach a specific subject in mathematics, and your students will have to solve these problems in the exam.
Good question. The standardized exams, the national exams, are once per year. And in high school, sometimes even just once every 4 years. So these are just very general math, English, sometimes a little bit of science and history, but the standardized exams are very general. And then the actual exams that you take in school, those are made by your teachers, by your school.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, sorry. Thank you. I'm glad you asked that.
Okay, I am glad you answered. Thank you.
Cool. Okay, next question. At what age does a child officially begin school?
6, 5, 6.
Yeah, because here in the diagram it says kindergarten at age 5, and then around age 6 they start grade school, what we call grade school. Okay, good. So 5 or 6. What are the names of the 3 levels of education?
Primary, secondary, and high school.
Yeah, good. So again, this diagram is a good reference. You have primary school, secondary school, or junior. I would say primary school, junior high school, and high school. Okay, and number 4, in what year are you considered a sophomore?
The second year of the the second year of your high school.
Yeah, good. So it's the second year of high school, or the second year of college. So sophomore is the second year. Freshman, sophomore, junior, senior. Sophomore is the second one. Okay, so number 5 says explain, but what are the types of courses offered at the high school level?
Academic, vocational, and general, I think.
Yeah, good. So here it says academic courses, vocational courses, and then like in my high school, there's a general program that combines both types of courses. And as you can see, when you read this article, you can click listen, and it will tell you how to pronounce the words. So later on your own time, if you want more practice with pronunciation, you can use this listening tool.
People usually go to like general schools if they won't go to the university or college. General courses for people like that.
It's a good question. In the U.S., people take generally the same. People take the same courses. Just some courses are harder than other ones. So you can take American history at a normal level, or you can take American history at an advanced level. And so it's less common, this idea of vocational courses. This is kind of outdated in the U.S. We teach mostly academic courses to everyone. We just offer different levels of difficulty. And so if you're aiming for college, you take the harder classes, but it's most students take academic classes, math, history, everything, even if they're not planning on attending university.
Okay, thank you.
Sure. Okay, then the next question is, what are electives? What are electives?
Hello.
Hello.
Hello, Libby. It's Victoria. I'm from Russia.
Hi.
Hi. Your lesson is the topic of your lesson is very interesting, And I would like to tell you about my high school education in Russia.
Wonderful. Okay, we just have 2 more questions to go over, and then I would love to hear about it. So in about a minute, I would love to discuss that. So let's just finish these 2 more questions, and then I would love to hear about Russia. So for everyone, number 6, what are electives?
It depends the graduation exams. Do you understand me what I mean? For example, in the every year, every finish, when everybody from high school finishes the study year, they passed the state exam. And of course, the choice between elective course, it depends between subjects like as history, Russian history, English. This is the main foreign language when Russian students study at school. Mathematics, chemical, biology, Russian language, of course, literature, and yes, and the whole we called in Russia обществознание, but the whole, maybe this is the whole scientific subject.
Okay, so actually right now we're just finishing up discussing the American system with this article, and then we'll move on to discussing the Russian system in a minute. But there's the link. So just to go over this question on this article that we had read, electives. Let's see, Abdullah or Arthur, could you tell me what electives are in general?
These are compulsory subjects in addition to the core subjects. And for example, it could be foreign language learning, studies in arts, music, and drama.
Good. Okay, so in a high school, you have compulsory courses, which are courses you need to take. They're required.
Yeah.
And then you have optional or elective courses. And so those are the extra courses that you can choose. So compulsory means you must take it. Elective means you choose. And then the last question says, which subjects are compulsory in the U.S.? Let's see. So here it's here in the article. It says some compulsory subjects are English, math, science, social studies, and physical education. So those are things that all American students are required to do. Okay, any questions about the article before we move on?
Compulsory, what does it mean, compulsory?
Good. Compulsory means, a synonym is mandatory. It means you must do it. So compulsory courses are courses that all students need to take. And elective is the opposite of compulsory.
Tell me please, Libby, what kind of elective course are there in USA educational system?
Good question. It depends on which school, because each school chooses its own curriculum. But in my high school, for elective courses, we had art courses like ceramics, painting and drawing, photography. We had health courses like psychology or mental health. We had physical education courses. You know, you could do different sports as an elective course. We had technology courses like video production, digital design. We had a journalism course, which was working with publishing the school newspaper. So we had a big variety of elective courses. We also had more advanced elective courses like economics, advanced physics, advanced chemistry, so you can elect to take more difficult science classes as well.
I also have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
You said, when I asked you mathematics, you said, I want to apply what I learned, so that's why I liked physics. So in Turkey, those courses are usually theory courses, mathematics, physics, chemical. Did you have like more laboratory type of classes in high school or different?
Good question. All of our physics classes in high school incorporated laboratory. So we always had some sort of applied use for it. And same with my classes in college, at university.
Okay.
By the way, in the US, we use the words college and university interchangeably. So if you hear Americans talking about college or talking about university, they're usually talking about the same thing. So yeah, so we applied a lot of the physics, which I liked, obviously.
In Turkey, if you say like college, it implies like private high school. So when I first heard this college, I was confused. Is it university or college? Oh.
Yeah, same thing in France, actually. In France, college means junior high school or middle school. So anyway, in the US, it means university. Yeah. So yeah, it can be confusing. Okay, so let's start talking about this system as compared to the systems in all of your countries. So Victoria, you mentioned that you wanted to talk a little bit more about the Russian system. Would you like to share a little bit more with us?
Yes, I have one question about your system. Tell me, please, I will ask you about elective course. For example, if I choose in America elective course drama, tell me, please, in this case, teacher invite some artists, stars, maybe different peoples which make different interesting things, spectacles in dramas. And your teacher, did your teacher invite these persons from the artist world, from the pop and star world, and what kind of methods did they do in this case?
Good question. Yeah, so sometimes teachers would bring in guests, either guest lecturers or guest, I never took drama, but I would imagine they would have brought in some actors to share about their work. Yeah, definitely. Is that common in Russia as well?
Please repeat this question.
Does that happen in Russia as well? Do teachers bring in extra, guests or people to demonstrate things to the class?
If it's possible, of course, because I'm sure it's impossible now. Time to time, and usually they spend their their lessons with computers, movies, and maybe interviews and different articles. This is like not a face-to-face situation. It is only by communication, by IT, videos, articles, and difference. And it's not good. It's sometimes poor. Do you understand me?
Yes, yeah. So they use different materials and resources to show students stuff, but sometimes it's not as good as bringing in people who could tell them about their experiences. Cool. Okay. Who else would like to, we only have a few minutes left, so who else would like to share a little bit about the primary education system in their country?
What do you want to know about primary education?
Well, so far in the class, we've gone over an article about the American system. So I'm wondering if, any of our students want to share about how the German or Armenian, Vietnamese, Turkish system might be different or the same as the American system.
In Turkey, it's pretty much the same. Just we have 5 years of primary system. I see in the chart you have 6 years, and you also have 1 year kindergarten. Kindergarten is not compulsory in Turkey, and we have 5 years, and it's again it's same. 12 years of education system is compulsory. You have to take this education, and university is arbitrary. Pretty much the same. We have 3 years of secondary, like junior high school, you say, and 4 years of normal high school. You have 3 and 4. Just 1 year is 1 year education system. You put it in primary, we put it in high school. It's pretty much the same. Yeah.
And is the public school system in Turkey generally pretty good? Do most people go to public school?
Public schools are it really depends on city and where you live. We have private schools, we have normal government schools, public schools. They are usually more crowded. Education is more based on theoretical information. Like you say, for example, you say physics, you have laboratories. Even at university, we don't have laboratory. Just maybe you take 10 classes of theory classes, one class just laboratory, and teachers come, they say, I don't know the topic, we will learn together. I don't. Education system really depends on the school, and stay. If private schools are usually better quality, they have better teachers, better laboratories or something. In Turkey, for example, university, there are a few good universities. Other universities are like high schools, like theoretical information.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Who else would like to share something about their country's system?
Well, in Germany, it is nearly similar to the American school system. In Germany, each federal state decides their own school system, but usually the primary schools begins at the age of 5, 6 and until 10, 11. And after primary school, well, you can decide. It depends on your grade. You can go to grammar schools. It depends on your how do you say, grades?
Yeah, that's
that you have at school, or you can go to the secondary general school. But if you go to grammar schools, it will be 4 years of education. And in secondary general school, it's 3 years. So, and if you go to secondary general school, it takes 3 years, and after 3 years you can start vocational training. We have a dual system. It means your training is you go to school once a week, and the other days you work in a company. And but if you and this dual system training takes 3 years, and after 3 years you can you can continue your education. You can go to higher education if you want, or you can go work.
Right. So the German system, I think, is pretty similar to the French system in that students, based on their grades, are separated into different forms of education. I think, in my opinion, I prefer the German system. I think they do it better in Germany. But that's just my opinion. Because when you separate students that way, it's important not to discourage the lower students, you know. It's important to say, okay, your grades are not as good, but you can still have a very successful career. And I think sometimes in France, I see that my students, or students in general, can be a little bit discouraged if they don't have as good of grades, because they need to be in a lower school. And so it's a little bit hard to make sure that all students feel motivated to keep working, even if they have lower grades, you know.
Yeah, it is. And in some federal states, for example, I live in Bavaria. It is in the south of Germany. The school system is a little bit harsh because they put the children under pressure. They expect good grades. You have to, or otherwise you will have how do you say? You will have a bad reputation or bad in the society. It is, but it's just only in my federal state, in Bavaria. It is not so important in other federal states, but in Bavaria it's different, like in other states. Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, I think I was talking to a woman from Germany last week too, and she wasn't from Bavaria, she was from northern Germany, but she was saying how she thinks that her system puts too much pressure on young children. So yeah, it's important to challenge children, but also not to make them feel stressed or make them feel like they're not good enough.
But you have, as you said, you have chances to have higher education. It doesn't matter how old you are, and it's, as you said, it's very good. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Okay, so let's see. We have like 1 minute left before I'll end. Would anyone else like to share their thoughts on the education system in their country? If not, we can finish up anyway. Yeah, so I think the American system is really, it's good in that it gives all students opportunities, but, and maybe this is a topic for another verbaling lesson, but there is, sometimes in certain areas there's a really big difference between public schools and private schools. So sometimes public schools are pretty bad and private schools are really good. And so in the US, sometimes, depending on the area, the public school system can be very low quality. And so that's the biggest problem in the US right now, is what we call bridging the achievement gap. We're seeing a lot of low-income students who are very low performing, and then high-income students who are doing fine. And we're trying to bring those groups closer together. But because we don't have a national education system, it's all paid for and organized by the individual cities and towns, the education quality varies a lot. So that's the problem that we're working on now in the US.
I think it's the same in Turkey in some situations, but the difference is they give good grades to all students. For example,
Okay.
I have relatives. They come. I see their grades are the best grades, the highest grades. When I ask the easiest questions, I see what they can answer, the easiest questions. But you see, they have the highest grades.
Yeah, interesting. All right, well, thank you for your thoughts today. We're going to end class, but I'm teaching another class later today specifically about university education. And then, let's see, tomorrow I have a bunch of different cool classes going on, so hopefully I'll see you guys very soon, and thank you for your great work today.
You're welcome. Thank you for your lesson.
No problem. See ya.
See ya.